welcome back on Generation Bridge. We appreciate everybody coming back in here. And as we look at different generations and different groups of people and how we all interact with each other, I thought about one of the people that I interact with in a slightly different role. He's a younger guy. His name's Nick. I'm going to let him introduce himself in just a moment. But he is my boxing coach. Yes, boxing. I said that, and I know it sounds strange, but yeah, as a 46-year-old, I've finally gotten into a place where I think I need to get one in shape, but two, learn a little bit more about some of the things that maybe we need to do to take care of ourselves in the event that something is not going to be a positive situation, or we get ourselves into some sort of situation where I might have to defend my kids or my family. I hope that doesn't happen. You know, God willing, that never does. But if it does, I want to be ready for it. So I reached out to a group called Champs Boxing in Danbury, Connecticut. And I actually got connected with Nick. And I just enjoyed myself so much taking lessons from him and learning from him. I think his approach is great. So I want to just give an opportunity for him to introduce himself to our area. And, you know, for whoever is out there looking or maybe thinking about getting in shape, different things like mixed martial arts and other types of ways along those types of paths can be a great way to get in shape. I know I'm drenched in sweat afterwards, but at the same time, it's a great way to do something positive for your soul and for your body. So without any further ado, I'm going to let Nick introduce himself. And he's traveling right now, and he's been very gracious to give us some of his time while he's out, and he's actually in a hotel right now. But I'm going to let him introduce himself and then tell us a little bit more about what he's up to. So go ahead, Nick.
Hi, my name is Prisiciandaro, and I'm a kickboxing and boxing instructor. Currently, I'm in Richmond, Virginia, cornering my friend Kyle Linder, who's a professional MMA fighter in the flyweight division, which is 125 pounds. And he's here fighting on Jorge Masvidal, the UFC fighters. His third fight show. This is his third fight show. So they got a lot of big fights on tonight, and it's live on the UFC Fight Pass.
That's pretty cool. So you're down in Richmond, Virginia, and again, I just thank you for taking the time. You're providing corner support for him.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. But what exactly is corner support?
So what we're doing is we're pretty much I'm one of his striking coaches in the corner. So we have a grappling coach who's gonna take care of getting him through like the grappling jiu-jitsu exchanges. And then we have me and one other guy who is kickboxing coach. We're gonna help coach him on what to approach the guy with on the feet. So pretty much we just give him obviously he does his own thing, and we just kind of try to whisper advice into his ear while he's going.
That's really cool, and actually that's part of the reason why I have you on, right? Is because you're coaching all different levels, and you're whispering advice into people's ears in all different ways. And I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about, you know, here I am, a 46-year-old guy coming to you as a 25, 27. Where are you at? 25 years old?
23.
23. So a 23-year-old guy, right? Just graduating college. And I'm a 46-year-old coming to you. And obviously, when it comes to fighting, when it comes to learning a new skill, you've really got to make yourself humble. You've got to realize that my life experience and other things is great, but in boxing, I have no experience. I have no wisdom. I have nothing to gain, right? Or nothing to give. I only have to gain. So how do you approach the difference in a person who is older versus a person who is younger? Or is there any difference in terms of the type of way that you approach the coaching style?
So yes and no. I do let everyone has different fitness levels, right? At any different ages, it gets harder as you get older, obviously, to stay more in shape. And naturally it does. So, but I don't approach anyone differently in the sense that I make everyone work past what they're comfortable doing. Just because I know to be a good coach, you have to make sure that people are pushing past where they're comfortable. So that they're constantly working towards a new comfortable. The new comfortable is better shape and better fitness. So I like to make people, even people of all ages, even the older people I've taught, that I push them to an uncomfortable level for them. And same thing I do with my athletes or my younger people who want to fight. I do the same thing with them. So I do approach it slightly different in the sense that I might do different exercises with them, just based off what their body's limits allow. But other than that, like pushing wise, no, 100% the same.
No, and so that's interesting. So you tell me if what I'm understanding is correct. In some ways, you're really, again, you're tailoring it to the individual. It isn't necessarily how old that person is, or it has to do with some things like fitness level. That's obviously a part of it, but you're going to create a relationship with somebody based on who they are, and then you're going to design a plan for that person. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, that was correct.
So that, I mean, it's a perfect example of what we talk about at Gen Bridge, right? Like this is about us saying it's not necessarily generational. It's about the value of the individual, or the individual relationship that we create, whether that's somebody who's 45, 23, or 7. Obviously, there are some different approaches, but it's the individual. So I think that's great that, you don't come into it with a predisposition of, oh, he's a 46-year-old guy who's out of shape. Hello. He's a 46-year-old guy out of shape. I'm going to treat him like this. You're going to talk with me, get to know me, and then you're going to build something around what I'm able to do, but you're going to push me, which is great. Is there anything that you would say in your career as a fighter, because you're still fighting and you're still doing this as a pro, but is there anything else that maybe you've learned that you would say to your 15-year-old or your 20-year-old self? I know you're only 23, but what kinds of things have you learned that you would pass on as wisdom to your previous self?
So I feel like, honestly, I learn something new every day, but my biggest takeaway so far has definitely been that you can't bullshit the system. Like, if you want to fight, you have to do everything 100%. That includes your diet, that includes your discipline in your workouts, that includes just showing up to the gym daily. And when you're not, the people you're fighting, when you get to a good level, like when I fought better competition, they smelled the bullshit from a mile away, and they called me, and I got hurt. So that's why I tell all my younger students is like, there's no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. If you want to compete at a high level, you have to prepare for a high level of competition.
No, that's I think fair in anything. I think as we look at it, even in your career, if you're again, your career as a fighter and a coach is one side of it, right? But my career as a market research person, or someone who's a consultant, or even on my part-time stuff on real estate, it's about fully going in as much as you can and really trying to give your best effort at all times, because otherwise people do smell the BS a mile away. Absolutely. So then what kinds of things do you sort of struggle with? Like, what are the things you're dealing with, or the challenges that you face in where you're at currently, that you kind of look to others to provide you wisdom on?
Honestly, for me, I think for a big time, it was definitely, it was kind of just finding like a gym where I felt honestly, for me, it wasn't even the gym, it was a coach. I was finding like a coach I knew I could 100% trust. And then it wasn't until I started training at Mount Vernon with my coach, Elvis Gashi, that I felt like when I was there, it wasn't, what I'm saying, it just felt like, it felt right. It felt like I could trust him. I felt like I could take fights through him, and I wasn't concerned who I was fighting, because he would always have me feeling 100% ready.
What makes you trust him?
Honestly, well, he kind of, so obviously his experience. So one big thing is his experience level, because he's a top number 3 fighter in the world in Glory Kickboxing. So, and he has 150 combined fights between amateur and professional. So he's a stinger, and on top of that, though, honestly, he's a very smart, knowledgeable guy, and he does like, his training's very good. I like the way he does. I do a lot of the training we do with my students even.
Well, I think, so I think you showed me some video of him one time, and you were saying that even when you're sparring lightly, every single punch or every single kick, has something behind it, even when it's just nice and light. And so there's the credibility of previous experience, but is there something in the relationship? I was watching something yesterday that I thought was very interesting, and I'd have to check it out to really say it was true or not. But there's a soccer player, De Bruyne, and he's a Belgian player, and it wasn't until he found the right coach that he was able to kind of liberate himself to become as good as he could be.
100%, Garrett. I 100% agree with that. I felt that even myself. I didn't feel like I showed my true potential until recently, until being there for over a year.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that we kind of forget. And I have another gentleman who recently did an interview. We're going to post that up pretty soon. but he was talking about like, we have coaches for our athletics, we have coaches for all kinds of things, but we really don't have coaches for our life, right? And I think that sometimes we fail to see that these coaches that come into our lives, if we have the right one, it can make such a huge difference, not just in terms of what we're actually working towards, but in our lives. And I look back on some of my past experience. One of the best experiences I had was when my college coach, as a walk-on, I always lacked confidence, right? I was someone who didn't feel like I belonged there. And I kind of got pushed into that feeling. But once we had a new coach come in, as much as I loved my old coach, the new coach said, look, you don't have to worry. You're not going to get let go. You're going to stay on the team. Like, it's going to be okay. And the second he said that, all of a sudden, I never had those nerves about playing and practicing because I wasn't feeling that judgment at all times. And so the right approach can really make a huge difference for you. So then the last piece here, because I find your approach very good with me. You're tolerant, you push me, but you respect me, and that's also good. And then we have a good rapport as we talk. But how can people find out more about you, or how can they start to reach out to you if they have an interest? Or if you want to tell us a little bit more about your own fighting, because I know you've got a pro fight coming up in September.
Yeah, so I'm supposed to. I have a fight coming up in Rockland County, New York, in August.
Oh, August.
Actually, August 13th. I believe August 13th is the official date. And yeah, so if you want to connect with me, I would say the best way to do is to reach out on my Instagram, and my Instagram is Nick_Prish, Prish. And yeah, that's the best way to reach out to me for coaching or anything.
And then you serve what communities? Because I know you work out of Champs in Danbury, but you also serve out of New York and everything else, right? So where are your client sets at?
So right now, my clients for the most part are at Champs in Danbury. Right now in New York, I teach kickboxing classes, but not privates at this gym in Mahopac, New York, Powerhouse. But soon I might be doing privates in New York too.
Perfect. So the best way to reach you is your Instagram. I always hate to say this. You got to slide it in the DMs. No, I hate saying that.
Exactly.
But Nick, after we're done, just text me your Instagram sort of handle, and I'll make sure we put that up in the video. Okay.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, brother.
All right. Well, enjoy your time. I wish your fighter the best of luck. Enjoy your time while you're down there in Richmond.
Tune in if you got a chance tonight. Tune in live to the UFC Fight Pass. You can get a free trial, and you watch that. It'd be good.
UFC Fight Pass?
Yeah, and it's called Icon FC.
Icon FC. All right, I will check it out.
Kyle's the first fight live tonight.
Oh man, that's awesome. Maybe I'll catch you on the ringside.
Oh yes, sir.
All right. Well, have a blessed day, man. I appreciate everything you do for me, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. And I wish you a good, successful event tonight, but a safe trip back as well.
Thank you, brother. I'll text you things. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. Have a
no
great
problem.
day.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.